Think about the worst thing that's ever happened to you. How did that change you as a person? Did it give you the urge to solve the injustice of the world? Has it permanently damaged you forever? Now, think about the best thing that's ever happened to you. How did that change you as a person? Did it make you realize what your favorite hobby was or what your goal for life is?
John B. Watson did a study where he took a child named Albert and gave him a white rat. Every time he would touch the rat or the rat would touch him, there'd be a loud sound. The boy would get scared and eventually learn that the rat was the cause of the sound. He then feared the rat and didn't want to go near it. He repeated the experiment with things like a Santa beard or a rabbit, things that were white and fuzzy. Then, when he was older, they asked him what he was afraid of, and he said he was afraid of rats.
Even though this wasn't very ethical, it did prove that the things you go through when you're younger affect the way you evolve. The thing he went through was the experiment, and how it affected him was he was scared of rats when he was older. The struggles people go through positively affect their evolution. The struggle Holden goes through in The Catcher in the Rye positively influences his growth. Holden is a 16-year-old boy who spends the whole novel going through a battle with adulthood.
He doesn't want to come to terms with the fact that things have to change. His main goal in life is to protect the innocent. He doesn't like the idea of change. The ducks are an example of this. He has a conversation with his cab driver where he talks about where the ducks go in the winter. This symbolizes his struggle with growing up. The ducks prove that things have to adapt to change, just like people have to grow up to survive. The conflict is so bad that when he sees a bad word on the elementary school wall, he has a mental breakdown. In the end, he finally realizes as his sister is sitting on the carousel that everyone has to learn from their mistakes and change because of it. The battle with adulthood that he went through the whole novel made him realize that change can't be stopped, so there's no sense worrying about it.
So this battle with adulthood Holden went through certainly affected his growth as a human being. The struggle James McBride went through in the memoir The Color of Water positively influenced his development in society. In the memoir, James explains how he and his mother grew up.
His mother, Ruth, was a woman that grew up with an all-Jewish family. When she wanted to get married to an African-American man, she had to run away because her family did not accept. She had 13 children, including James, with multiple men, which she was married to. The main conflict in James's life was that he was half black and half white. He was born in the 1960s, so it was different back then for a black and white person to be together. He got bullied all the time for his mother's race, and people would look at them funny when they went out. It was especially hard for his mother because she didn't feel accepted into the black or white community. Even though Ruth went through so much discrimination, she still was able to send 13 kids through college. James overcame his challenge by writing his memoir and making people aware of what's happening when people discriminate. He now has a broader perspective of the prejudice of the world.
So the battle with discrimination James went through affected his perception of different people in a positive way.
It's not just people and books that have to go through these factors. Celine Dion is someone who came from nothing and it positively affected her. She grew up with 14 kids in her house while her dad made $160 a week. She tried everything in her power to try and help her family out and found the only way she could do that was with her voice. Her family helped her send a recording of herself to a music manager and she got signed. She is now worth $400 million. She has even written famous songs like My Heart Will Go On in Titanic and All by Myself.
In conclusion, the conflict people go through positively affect their development.
Holden went through the battle of adulthood and change. In the end, he finally accepted it. James had to deal with prejudice all his life, but decided to show other people and bring awareness to the problem.
No matter what people go through, they should try to see how it affects them positively and not dwell on the negatives.